a lot of my friends' sons are website designers. How deep do you think they're really going? Because they give out cards to people that they will do your website.
Well, but look, you know what? I'll be frank here. The guys that are working out in their basement or kids, you know, they started learning about HTML and using programs like Dreamweaver. You know, for like 5 years now, the kids have probably been doing it, and I started using it when I was 40 years old. So they may become rather adept at constructing a site in Dreamweaver. But here's the thing. What are you using your website for? Marketing. Does that person know marketing? Okay, that's the issue right there. That's the biggest problem. I cannot tell you how many websites. I'm in business redesigning other people's mess. That's what I do. Very rarely do I get someone who says, I don't have a website. I need a website. That's like so rare. I always get, my cousin built the site, he didn't finish it, he doesn't return my phone calls, things like that. So, in terms of the marketing end of it, where it's really important, I approach a website from a marketing standpoint. Okay, that's the thing. I'm looking at it from a marketing end. The HTML, the HTML5, the Flash, the this, the JavaScript, those are all just tools we use. And we're not in love with any of them. We just use what's best for our client. So we spend a great deal of time, and I have a website questionnaire that I give clients because it really forces them to think about issues. But we spend a great deal of time planning. If you were building a house, would you just tell your cousin, go to the lumberyard, start? You know how to hammer a nail. I mean, you can cut a piece of wood. What's it to building a house? But then you walk in and you find that you're standing in the kitchen. Okay? So it's all about doing the planning up front and realize that this is a marketing issue, not a technology issue. I do work for some very, very large companies, and their websites are controlled by their IT department. And that absolutely blows my mind, that they want to get something up on their website. They have to go through their IT department, and it could take a day. How can anything take a day anymore in this day and age? It should take a minute. Right? You have a new interest rate you want to put up, you're a bank, it should be up instantly. Okay? But we're going through this thing. We're just kind of, people are trying to find their way. Whose responsibility is it? I do work for a college, and the website is controlled by the IT department. And they have to say in how things look. And even, there was something very important we needed up there, and they said, well, we didn't think it was important. Well, no. You gotta be kidding me. You know, I mean, would you have the pressmen writing the articles for the newspaper? No, they print the paper, they deliver the paper. They don't write the paper, right? I mean, it's the same thing here. You know, it's very important. It's very, very important whether you do your own site or not. The planning, okay? This isn't a technology exercise. This is marketing. Very, very important. So for those kids working out of their house, keep going, baby. You're keeping me in business.
I know for me the most important thing is to be able to update the site myself, like so that it is instant the minute I want to change something.
And we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about the options and things like that. If a site is just built in HTML, okay, and you don't have any knowledge, working knowledge in HTML, you're kind of out of luck there. But there are options. So we'll discuss those options. So we talked about conventions, and then we kind of got off the thing, but that's good. All right, so we talked about this. Keep the noise down to a dull roar, please. This isn't a show with all these flashy things going on all around the place. I had a client who owned a large building. They were an insurance company, and he was very proud of his building. So he wanted like the home page of his website to be like the facade of his building, and you know, you open the door and you go in, and I'm like, no. And I said, who cares about your building? What kind of insurance do you sell? I mean, that's what do you have liability? He was in love with it. You know, the green marble on the floor. He wanted to pick up the accents, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. You know, that's just a lot of unnecessary noise. Get to the point. Otherwise, I'm clicking off and I'm going to your competitor. So get to the point. So you have everyone trying to clamor for your attention. They're trying to say everything all at once to you. That we do this, we do that, we'll take 10% off, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And you're like, I don't know what to listen to. There's so many things going on. There's so many competing messages going on the page. I don't know what to pay attention to. So it's very important to focus on what it is you want them to. It might be a statement, it might be an overview statement, It might say, you know, we supply widgets to the aerospace industry for over 30 years. You know, get to the point. You know, get to the point with it. You know, it's like being at a cocktail party, and everyone's talking, and the noise level in the room is really high. You can't understand a word anyone's saying, right? So it's very, very important that you keep the noise to a minimum. So what is a good site? What is a good site for small business? We're going to talk about some of the characteristics and some of the things that are important. Number one, right here, tagline. Right underneath your logo in the upper left-hand corner of that page. In as fewer words as possible, let everyone know what you do. Okay? Right at a glance. Tell them what you do. Okay? Just right to the point. I can't stress that enough, that you have a tagline telling what it is you do so that people know, and that is on every page of your site. So no matter where they go, it's right there. Tagline, very, very important. And that should be part of your logo, okay? And that should be on your business card. And that should be on your stationery. And that should be on your direct mail, your advertising. That consistent application, get that tagline there. All right, so a good website, got consistent design and navigation on all pages. So that no matter where you go, there's this nice, friendly environment that they feel comfortable in. That all of a sudden you go to another page and it's a different color and the navigation change, and or there's no navigation. Everyone sees sites where you go and all of a sudden you click in and then the navigation disappears and they have like a home button or something. Like, well, what happened? You know, what's going on there? So it's very important to just, you know, be consistent. You know, a good website is just about doing a lot of little things right. That's really what it is. It's not, you're not hitting a home run here. It's, you want to do all the little things right. And if you do all the little things right, I have a contact button. My phone number's on the home page. I have links, you know, for more information, or I have a method of gathering contact data from prospects. It's all about trying to do all the little things right. And then all of that together gives you a good website and a strong presence. So we talked about the consistent design. Clear hierarchy of information. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, you said about the consistent design and navigation on all pages. So does that imply on making one page and making copies of the others?
Well, that a template?
Yes.
I mean, that's an oversimplification of what it is. But it's more along the line of, if you build a house, the ceilings are 8 feet in every room, right? I mean, unless you want to be creative, you can make some 3 and some 6, right? But the ceilings need to be the same height, because I want to just effortlessly walk through your house. I don't want to have to duck when I get on a page. Okay, so it's very important. This is the balancing act I'm talking about, when you're struggling with trying to be creative with your website and trying to give something functional. This is a balancing act. So I recommend that you do have a predictable thing on every page, so that there's a certain level of familiarity, comfort, and it's ease of use. Okay, that is more important than a clever design. And I'm in the design business, so I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot there. But having that clear information, we talked about it. We give basic information, and then there could be a drill down for more. For example, we may have a navigation called products. Okay, so they're okay, products, so let's see what they have. So maybe you mouse over products, or you click on products, and a list comes down of all the different types of products you have by category. We have ice makers and stoves and blenders. Okay, well then you could click on blenders and say, well, they have 8 different types of blenders. So there's this hierarchy of information. Once again, we start with the more broad, basic categories, and then it narrows down. Okay, you just keep narrowing it down. So that's very important, having the hierarchy of information. You'll see website, anyone see this, where they list all 70 of their products going down the side. All 70 of them, right down there. We got it, we got it covered, everything's there. Yeah, good job. But the problem is no one's going to want to read that. Okay, so you categorize. You know, break your stuff into categories and chunk that information so that it's much easier for someone to digest. Instead of listing, you know, everything there, do it with categories, and then they can click and maybe go to another landing page that lists those specific products within that category. And then it makes it much easier. Once again, it's all about, you don't want to overwhelm the person coming to your site. Footer links on the bottom of every page. Everyone know what a footer link is? Footer link is that way down at the bottom, you'll see it. It's like text links, and it will say, you know, we'll have maybe have the copyright, it will have the name of the business, and then it will say terms of use, privacy policy, contact us. Sitemap is very important too. We'll talk about that. So it's another set of links, is what it is. It's another set of links at the bottom of your page. And why do you do that? Well, you do that for a couple reasons. Number one, if someone has to scroll on your page, if you have content that has to scroll, they may lose the top navigation when they scroll. So the footer links are there, so boom, I can easily find what I'm looking for right there. I can go to the contact page right from there, or I can go to the about page right from there. It gives them another set of links. It's very important, and once again, Google kind of likes that stuff too. They like those links. Any way they can get to other pages and index them, Google likes that. So those footer links are very important that they're there. And on those footer links, you have something called terms of use, and that's standard industry jargon. What it is it's basically telling people that if you do give us information, we're not going to resell it. We're not going to, sell it to a third party. It's kind of like just a disclaimer on your website with the privacy policy too. Those are standard things. So if you are building your own website, you can find that information very easily on the web, but include it on there. That you want to let people know that if you are gathering information on them, you're not reselling it. And also that you have links to other websites. So you may have hyperlinks going to other websites, and you don't have control over that content. So you want to kind of put in your terms of use there saying, I'm not responsible for the content of some of these links, Yeah.
Talking about scrolling, you just mentioned, is that a good idea generally, or a bad idea, or should everything be, for example, self-contained on a single page and not involving scrolling down, scrolling from side to side? What are your feelings about that?
That's a really, really good question. Scrolling from side to side is an absolute no-no. No, never do it. Don't do it. You don't want to scroll this way. Scrolling up and down a little bit. Think of it as the fold of the newspaper, right? Mm-hmm. Below the fold, like when anything's that below this screen is below the fold. People don't mind scrolling a little bit. Okay, I think a lot of you might think, no scrolling, no scrolling. A little scrolling is okay. A lot of scrolling is not okay, because now all of a sudden when you're doing a lot of scrolling, they just kind of lose their whole orientation of the page. Break it up. I generally, as a rule of thumb, would say, a page and a half, like half of a page below the scroll, and no more. And if you have more copy than that, you got that real estate, break it out, make another page. I mean, it's the web. I mean, you could have 1,000 pages on your site. So don't let it scroll.
Should we include the email address in the website?
I personally don't like filling out a form asking someone to get back to me. I just don't, I'm filling out a form, okay, so I'm waiting. When are you getting back to me? I'm not like that. The other reason with the email, sometimes what happens is some of these marketers out there would crawl through your site and harvest the email addresses.
Right, that's the problem.
Okay, and then use that, and then they would spam you. But there are some ways around it where it's just set up. You can set up some different things instead of putting the actual email name in there.
I was gonna say, I saw recently someone who split up the email and then told you to get rid of the spaces.
Now there's the convention, right? That's a convention. That little @ sign, and there's no spaces, right? I mean, everyone's email address has a little @ sign there. That's a convention. And if I saw that where it said I got to move the spaces, I'd move to a different site. and that's just too much work. But it's kind of a tough thing. I would have the email addresses. What you can set up, like I set up department email addresses. So you have sales, or you have customer service, and they'll go to different people in your organization, whereas you may not have individual people's email addresses. But you can set up department or info app or sales app, and set up a couple different email addresses like that. That's what I would do. But I think you should have the email on there. I think you should put every means of contacting you on your site.
I had one issue with the site I have that somebody else set up, and they had my address, like my mailing address, and I had an 800 number, Well, I had a lot of solicitors do a reverse lookup, calling my house number, because my address was on there.
Yeah, now there's a way around that. What you could do with your phone number is you could actually make that number a JPEG, a photo, and not text, so the spiders can't read it. Okay, I don't know if you understand that, but like, you know, instead of it actually being text on the thing, it's an image of the phone number. Like you ever see now, you got to type in the what do they call it, catch?
Gotcha.
Yeah, you have to type in the thing when you want to submit something, and it's got like a lowercase d and a z, and it's got a line through it. Well, that's an image. So those spiders can't read that code. Okay, that's an image. So that's why they'll try putting like weird things on it, you know?
Why does that sometimes you have to do that 3 times?
Well, you know what? That thing will drive you crazy because is that a capital Z or a lowercase Z? I cannot tell. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
Even if I do it right, it's still
it's stupid. And once again, they're just doing that because these robots go in there and harvest this stuff.
The new way to do it is with audio.
Yeah,
Much better.
they have a lot of them will have an audio feature right there. You'll see the little audio thing, and you can just
So would you suggest?
It's actually a recording and you type in what it's saying is recording.
What happens with
No,
it doesn't have
Because
audio
that's what they
turned on.
found the whole phone.
You know what? It's once again, it's a balancing act. You want your address to be indexed by Google, and you want it out there. So to me, it's worth the trade-off. I mean, you can't design your site for the lowest, character of people. You know what I mean? And trying to do a foolproof thing. You're out there. You're out there for everyone to see. And people, I've had sites. My own website was hacked, and it was some sort of Chinese national organization had pages within my website. And you get people that will hack it. And I've had clients that have had their sites hacked with things like that. So, you just try to stay one step ahead of them, but you got to do your thing. You got to do your thing.
How did you find out you were hacked?
Well, I was able. We did a Google search, and my name came up, and then there was this page with all these Chinese characters under it. I was like, what is that? That's how I found it. It was on my server, embedded within the page of my
They
server.
were using your resources for their purpose.
It's very common. I had a pharmaceutical, Viagra, pages on mine. Very common. Very common. I didn't take that as a personal.
What's the advantage?
Yes.
Did you find out what was the cause of exploitation?
Well, they hacked into my server. I don't know who it was.
But if it was a malicious script?
Oh, yeah, it was malicious, all right, sure,
But
absolutely.
you wrote something wrong? and
Well,
they-
we've actually had that with databases and things like that, where they'll put a virus in the database and corrupt the database. You get it all the time, so it's very important, security. And it's also just very important that, remember, you put something up on that website, it's there for everyone to see, and you're kind of vulnerable.
It's there
But,
forever.
I think the advantages of it far outweigh these kind of things. So, keywords. We're almost getting ready to take a break here, but keywords that identify your business. I'm not really here to talk too much about search engine optimization, although I do it, and I'm familiar with it. I'm here to kind of talk about the design. But while you're designing your site and developing the copy of your site at that time, you want to be thinking about search engines and how the search engines will read or index your site. So you want to have right up front on every page, those first couple of sentences, get the keywords that describe your business. You kind of do it in different ways on each page if you can. Google likes those first 200 words or so on each page. Loves it. And I'll talk a little bit more about search engine optimization, but you want to have your content rich with keywords that describe what you do. So really think about that when you're putting the copy together. Google, which is the #1, everyone knows Google's the guy, right? Every 8 to 10 weeks, they'll crawl through your site. They'll read your site. We call it indexing. They'll come through your site and say, hey, what's new? That's our business. Our business is to find out what's new and put it up on Google. So let me read through your site. And does your copy on the page, is that relevant to the metadata, which I'll talk about meta tags and things like that later? Does all this jive? Does all this make sense? And if it does, we like you. We like you, and we're going to score your site a little bit higher. But they'll come back 8 to 10 weeks again, and they'll say, okay, same thing. This is the same stuff I saw last time. Okay. Your competitor changed their content and updated their site. They may go, propel above you. So it's very important when you're talking about content, and we'll talk about content too, that you update your content, you know, as frequently as you can, as realistically as you can. Your old business owners, it's very difficult, but at least get in there. Maybe if you put a press release up on your site, a news article on your site, something like that. Just make it part of your routine. Just make it part of your routine. Once a week, once every other week, I'm just going to put something up on my site. Very, very important.
Why?
Okay, because Google's not going to like you if you don't do it.
I mean, if you're selling a widget, right?
Yeah.
And your widget's not changing.
Right?
And it's the only widget out there. You're updating.
You're not selling a widget. You're selling your company. And your company is changing all the time. You've got a new employee, you know, you moved to a new headquarters, you were just awarded a new contract, you got an accreditation.
It's a matter of relevance. You need to be
It's-
relevant and current.
Yeah, so it's not just about your product, or maybe you have a new product, or maybe you want to talk about a new enhancement on your product. The biggest thing I see when I'm dealing with my clients is they all just think, they don't think a lot of things that happen during the course of their business day and week are important. And I'll say, what's going on in your business? What's happening? Oh, nothing new, nothing going on. There's got to be something. No, same old, same old. So you keep up. Well, we did get that contract with the Navy for $3 million. You know, put it up. Or we did. We all volunteered over at Habitat for Humanity. We built a house. Kill you.
I mean, if you're a customer or a website viewer, I mean, you certainly don't care if they hire you or they're
There you go. Look, right there. You hear what you said? Google cares.
Oh,
okay. And what's Google going to do? They're going to say, we like this guy. We like his website. We're going to push him up.
What is Google?
Because Google's all in the business
I understand.
about displaying what's the latest and what's out there. Their whole job is to index the web and bring it to your desktop.
Okay. So the effort is to manipulate Google, not your customers.
No, your effort is to speak to your customers. Okay.
Let Sarah hand the microphone.
Okay.
The people back here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, your effort is always to communicate with your customers and have them communicate with you. But understand, and it's not manipulating Google, because if you try to manipulate Google, you'll be penalized.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you got to play by Google's rules, because if you try to trick them, then you're gonna lose on that one. So what it's about is it's a strategy of updating your site on a regular basis as much as you can, so that your customers will come back to your site, or new people will be attracted to your site. It's very important, because if you don't do it, and your competitors are, they're going to be ahead of you in the search.
So how does Google know that your page has changed? Is it a visual thing?
What they do is they read it, they index it. There's code behind the scenes and there's text on your page. And they read it and they index it.
When you say they read it, I mean,
Well, they have these spiders that actually go in and actually process the data.
So it's all like electronic?
It's all done electronic with algorithms, and they grade your site.
I was going to ask you, suppose you have a blog that you're constantly updating with, let's say, new information, with new information about your products, about big jobs you won, which you just mentioned, and that sort of thing. And you do that fairly frequently. Maybe every day, maybe once a week, maybe once a month. Is that the type of thing that they also
blogs are great.
follow? Blogs are good?
Blogs are good. Blogs are very good. Okay, blogs, are an easy way for you to update content yourself. So sometimes if you have a challenge where you have a site that you can't update yourself, you can very easily deploy a blog. And if you have a little passion about writing yourself, or you have someone in your business that's willing to kind of work with this, a blog is a great way. If you have a blog and the last posting is from a year ago, probably better off not having a blog. Probably better off not. Once again, it's like your house. You're not keeping up your house.
So you can have your blog right on your website?
You link it to it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you link it to it. So,
I was just going to say, it's 10 o'clock.
all right, let me just wrap up this part. We kind of deviated. Just one more question, then I'll wrap this up real quick.
Do you have to add new content to your web pages, or can you just reorganize?
Well, you could do a little bit of reorganizing. That is a good question. You could reorganize your content, maybe change the keywords around a little bit. You can do that as well. That's part of the strategy. But what they don't like is they don't like duplicate content. So if you duplicate things a lot, you have it on a lot of pages the same way, they do not like that. Okay, so it's all about relevant copy, okay, that pertains to your business, your type of business, and things like that. And we'll talk about Google and everything after the break. Let's just get through this. Obviously, easy to find contact information. A good website should have it right there. I hate so many of these sites you go to, and it says, you know, why can't you put your phone number on the home page? Why do I have to go look for your phone number, for crying out loud? Just put it there. You know, you gotta hit the contact button, and then there's a form. I just want your number, you know, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Just put the contact with your address, if you're a local business, and you know, put it right there on the homepage where everyone can see it. Very important. And then, with your website, really try to have a means or a way of gathering information about your clients or potential clients. And unfortunately, sometimes it is a form. It could be a form. It could be you have a white paper and people could register to download a white paper. Not too crazy about that. Doesn't happen too much. But you really want to have a method to try to gather this information. Maybe you can offer them something. Maybe people sign up for you if you have a newsletter or something. You can offer them a discount. You have to do something to encourage them to give you their contact information. No one wants to give out their email address. No one. I mean, you don't want your email address given out. So you have to really compel them, give them a good reason why. That you're going to email them specials. You know, you're going to email them discount coupons. You're going to email them something. But try to have a strategy that you can gather the contact data of people coming to your site. That's really important so that you could maybe later on market to them.
I mean, if they're ordering your product, though, you're going to get all this, right?
Well, if they are, yeah. But if they just came to visit and left, there's no way. There are these websites out there that you can sign up for where they can register the IP address from that computer where it came from and match it up to a business. And you can get a list of the businesses that visited your website. And it's a little pricey, but you know, you can see it. Say, okay, this person, these are the people that visited my website. They didn't sign up for anything, but they visited my website. It's like a third-party website you can sign up for. There's a few of them out there.
Talking like Omniture? Or?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so things to avoid. No splash pages or intro pages, please. Self-serving, boring. I just want to get on and find out, you know, where you're located, or I just want to find out what products you sell. That's just self-serving, and shame on you. Shame on you. Don't do it. I'll get mad if you do it. Don't do it. No splash or intro pages. None. Get right to it.
What's that?
So you even go to a website and they have like music playing and you know the type will come in and it's, you know, our commitment to excellence. Oh, forget it. Come on. That's it. I'm right off. You know, these have disappeared. You know, fewer and fewer people are doing them.
No, whenever they say end your site.
Right. End your site. Well, thank you. Well, you know, gee, what do you think I'm here for? Of course I'm going to enter the site. But there used to be a lot of them. But you see fewer and fewer, and that was the number 2 most clicked link was skip this intro. You know, it's just a roadblock. It's just a barrier to having that contact with the customer. Slow loading pages. Okay, once again, nothing will frustrate a web user more than they come on a page and it's taking forever to load. What would cause a page to load slow? Large photos. You ever see the window shade thing, like where a photo's coming in like this? The photo's way too large. It wasn't optimized for the web. So the photos have to be optimized for the web. No real heavy graphics on the page. It's got to be nimble. It's got to load quick. You could have the most beautifully designed page in the world. If it takes forever to load, no one's ever going to see it.
What if photos are essential to your site?
Oh, photos are essential to your site. Absolutely essential. But they have to be optimized for the web. They have to be small.
That you can't have.
Oh no, I would tell you must have photos.
Okay, because I work in the art industry. We have to use photos.
Everyone should have photos on the site. We're going to talk about photos too. It's a must. It has visual meaning. Okay, kind of brace it up. So have that. I really think it's a challenge when you have a color background and white text. It's a challenge to read, especially on the web. We all grew up reading books. Okay, black type on a white page, right? It's a convention. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's how people are accustomed to reading. You could go a little bit with color on your type, like a gray. Don't make it too light. Don't do it all in Kelly green and have a paragraph of copy in Kelly green. It's just, people will not be able to read it. So I don't like white type on a color or a black background. You know, if it's just a band with a headline in it, it looks all right. But if you have a paragraph of copy, that's hard to read. It's very hard to read. Too much Flash. Everyone know what Flash is? Flash is it's an Adobe product. It's Adobe Flash, and a lot of web designers use it. That's that animation, the text tumbling in and the photos panning. Yep.
What if you have a link to your YouTube commercial?
You absolutely want to have that. We're going to talk about social media. Yes, very important. We're going to cover that. But this Flash, the Flash, is animation, and it used to be web designers. We build our whole sites in Flash because you can have 100% control on how it looks. Like, I don't know if you're aware, but on a website you can only use so many different types of fonts. There's like Arial, Times, you know, Geneva or something. There's only like 4 or 5 fonts because they're universal. Everyone has them on their desktop. So people say, well, I want to use a script. I want to use this. I want to be fancy. It's not going to work in HTML. But with Flash, you can do anything. You can paint a beautiful picture. Problem is with Flash is, number one, they're phasing it out. You can't use Flash on your mobile phone, your smartphone. Flash is not supported on there. And the search engines aren't crazy about it either. And once again, if you're using heavy Flash, now you're starting to get back into that self-serving mode. Look at me, not look at what I do or what I can do for you. It's just look at me. So, music. Most people are on the web during their lunch hour, a lot of times at work. They're making their plane reservations, they're booking this, they're buying this from there. And all of a sudden music comes blaring on the computer. You know, I'm not saying no site should ever have music. There is a place for it, but most sites shouldn't have music or someone talking or something like that. You know, you want to be in control. The user wants to be in control of the experience. So if all of a sudden they go to your page and boom, music starts playing, they're like, oh, where's the shut off? I want to shut this off. You know, you're like, oh my God. I have a client that they have a welcome message. And it says, oh, welcome, you know, just very grandiose, welcome to our website. And I'm like, okay. And then I go inside to another page, and when I come back, it's playing again. And it's like, oh my God, enough. Like, you know what? Too much. No good. No good. And then the last thing that you really should avoid is incomplete pages, where you don't have anything. It's not the end of the world if you have a page that says under construction, because you're working on it, but don't let it linger too long. Otherwise, just take the page down. But incomplete pages, a definite no-no. So we talked